like to welcome the chief guest for the day, the spine of our school, the most coruscating figure of this institution, Ma'am Promini Chopra, the principal of Seth M.R. Jaipuria School. Wait.
India is my country. All Indians are my brothers and sisters. I love my country and I'm proud of its rich and varied heritage. I shall always strive to be a loyal and a worthy citizen of it. I shall show respect to my parents, teachers, and elders, and shall be obedient to them.
I feel they are very, very relevant even in the present times. When he spoke of a suppressed nation, he meant suppression under the British rule. We were all yearning to come out of that era. But we are still suppressed. And now this suppression is not by any external force, it is indigenous. Indigenous suppression by our own weak will, by corruption, and by disobeying the rules which a country forms. And there are so many reasons for which I can say we are suppressed. Gender bias, regionalism, communalism, so on and so forth.
Every year we have been assembling here to celebrate our Independence Day, to reminisce with reverence our martyrs and freedom fighters, to sing patriotic songs and to deliver speeches. All of that is good to enliven our spirits, but as soon as this part of the day is over, our spirits soon evaporate and dissolve with the innumerable worries and pleasures that we are beset with. This ephemeral awakening is certainly not enough. Is it not high time that we endeavor to introspect our achievements as well as our shortcomings and chart out the path that has yet not been traversed?
Today, as a nation and as individual citizens, we must pledge to uphold this spirit of solidarity and respect for the multicultural, multi-religious and multi-ethnic character of India. Standing at this 71st milestone, let us resolve and rededicate ourselves to the cause of ensuring an India that is not characterized by political bickerings, terrorist activities and selfish motives. An India in which the weak and downtrodden are empowered.
So today we're going to have a short group discussion, and the topic for the group discussion is the youth of today doing enough for our nation?
The topic which we are deliberating upon is extremely subjective, because whereas on one part we have some youth in our country who are taking up weapons for our country and facing the Chinese standoff at Doklam and spending, I wonder how many fierce nights in Kutch and line of control. There are some youth at the same time in our country who are picking up weapons against the country in Kashmir. But yes, if I have to take a stance on the topic, I believe in the fact that the youth of our country is doing enough. I emphasize on the fact because in this I do not consider those youngsters as a part of our country who are just physically present in this country but have their heart and soul attached to the constitution of other nations, especially our beloved neighbor.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and a very happy Independence Day to you all. And on this monumentous occasion, let us all look to our darker sides and ask the question, is the youth of today doing enough for its country? Is the youth of today patriotic enough? And in a way, no. Because every 40 plus, at least my parents want to say that the youth of today do not do enough, that we're not loving enough for our country. And well, we haven't seen the independence struggle. We haven't seen the 1947, 1962, 1965, 1971 wars. My grandmother, she used to tell me how they used to eat so little so they could save money to give biscuits to the army during these times. And I've never been through that. We've never been through that. And maybe that makes us less patriotic. But in a way, I also disagree with this statement, because it is a disrespect to every man and woman, every father and daughter, every son and mother who goes to the border to fight for us. And ladies and gentlemen, when we say that the youngsters are not patriotic enough, we are also disrespecting Umar Fayaz, the lieutenant who was killed on July 1, 2017. He was only 24 years old. If you require more examples, you can find ample of them in just the last year. People who laid down their lives for this country. Sudesh Kumar, 26, Nitin Subhash, 28, Jitendra Singh, 25, Randeep Rawat, 27, Sandeep Singh Rawat, 27. Young Indian soldiers, the youth, who made the biggest sacrifice they could for their country. And maybe the youth is flippant and ignorant and arrogant and self-involved and narcissist and disrespectful. And maybe we are we-driven. But sometimes we flip that M upside down and we become we-driven. And that is how our country will progress, because we may or may not have been doing enough, but we certainly have the capacity to do so much more.
Good morning to one and all. A lot has already been said from both the sides, so I would like to point out a very important fact, first of all, that the 41% population of the country right now can be termed as youth. What is an important aspect of this population which we call youth is that most of them are illiterate. And the people who are literate, they are not employable because of various reasons. Youth is the spring time of one's life where the potential of one's is as limitless as the possibilities we should have. But is this the fact? No. The youth today do not have as many opportunities as they require. We can very easily see the fact that this can be termed in a manner that the youth are not doing enough for the country, while many youths counter this by saying that the country is not doing enough for them. This feeling is the feeling which is eating up upon the most important asset of the country, which is the youth. The youth today need to shoulder the responsibility of their country and take it to new heights. But that is not happening because of the mere fact, because of the fact that they do not associate themselves with their country. They cannot have the feeling of belongingness. An important way in which this can be achieved is by imbibing in youth the importance of the country and what the country has already done for them, and them also trying to understand that the country has always been with them.
Good morning, everyone. The question whether the youth of this country has done enough for the nation or not cannot be stated in explicit terms owing to the natural and the demographic diverseness of our country, and owing to the fact that the notions and the ideology of the youth of our country is an amalgam of many things, some of which may be positive, some of which may be negative. In the recent time, there has been a shift from constructive criticism of the government to derogatory criticism. In the want of being conceived as a person with liberal outlook, people have started adopting anarchy in place of democracy. People have started disgracing and disrespecting the constitution of the country while misinterpreting the constitution and defending their disregard. However, as per my belief, the question whether a person is patriotic or not cannot be stated in explicit terms, or cannot be dictated by the fact that a person is willing to explicitly state that a person is patriotic or say derogatory things about the enemy nation. However, it is determined by the fact about how willing is the person to actually respect the sacrosanct and the transcendental tenets of the Constitution of India, the tenets of liberty, the tenets of freedom, and the tenets of respect. On 5 years ago, on the 16th of December 2012, when the women of this country were wronged, during that fateful night, when the Nirbhaya Kand occurred, the resilience and the determination with which the youth came out on the streets, irrespective of their gender, and opposed the ill mindset prevalent in the country, it proved my point that there is still some kindness and respect remaining in the hearts of the youth today. Thank you.
So with that, we thank all our speakers, and before we actually sign this group discussion off, I would like to have my 2 cents on the topic if the respected House allows. So I believe that it is a very, very simple topic, and the question here does not stand of patriotism or army or anything else. The question is a conflict. Ladies and gentlemen, a nation is formed by conflict. As we know that this beautiful planet Earth has been formed by the tectonic plate crashes and effects and conflicts of nature, this nation, the state that happens to be organic in nature, is also created by conflicts. And the conflict here is moral obligation versus legal rights. Lord Justices, the legal right happens to be the fundamental rights that a nation has always to bestow upon you, irrespective of the fact whosoever you are, whether you are abiding by 51A, that is your fundamental duties, or you are not. But the question on the morality of the citizen is that do you wish to exercise 51A, do you wish to exercise fundamental duties, and do you wish to respect your fundamental rights? So the question is very simple, that even though the state is not expecting and it is not compulsory for any one of us to exercise our fundamental duties, howsoever in good faith and as citizens of this nation, we should always. Just taking a very small example of Kashmir, I think that Kashmir was wronged in the 80s, 90s and 2000s, and it is only the doctrine of proportionality which is today showing with the youth showing up. I agree that there are a lot of forces that are misconstruing the facts, but it was the presence of some facts that have today been turned into greater analogies and into greater large holes of swollen depressions. But in the first case, there were some happenings and incidents in which the Kashmiris were wronged. So my view is very simple. The nation and the youth of today is doing enough for the nation. However, I believe that if a conflict arises between your legal rights and your moral obligations, then ask yourself a very simple question. Is it the nation which has to do for you, or is it you who has to do for the nation? Thank you, and Vande Mataram.
To present a zealous speech in Hindi, which would move each one of us and would fill our hearts with devotion, patriotism, and the feeling of freedom in its utopian sense.
जी तो सदा इसी के लिए रहे अभिमान और यह हर्ष, निछावर कर दे हम सर्वस्व हमारा प्यारा भारतवर्ष। मेरे समक्ष प्रस्तुत हर उस व्यक्ति को जिसके हृदय में आज भी भारत को एक स्वराज्य से सुराज्य या राम राज्य बनाने की अग्नि भभक रही है, स्वतंत्रता दिवस की हार्दिक बधाई। हम सब विद्यार्थी हैं, अतः हम बड़ी बड़ी बातें नहीं करेंगे। हम भ्रष्टाचार, महंगाई, बेरोजगारी की बातें छोड़कर अपने कर्तव्यों की बातें करेंगे। हमारे कुछ कर्तव्य हैं: उचित शिक्षा प्राप्त करना, अपना स्वास्थ्य अच्छा रखना, शारीरिक व मानसिक रूप से स्वच्छ रहना तथा देश के शक्ति बोध व सौंदर्य बोध को मजबूत करना।
कौन है ये भारत माता? कहाँ मिलती है ये भारत माता हम सबको? मेरे लिए वो भी भारत माता है जो दिन रात अपने पति, अपने बच्चों के लिए काम करती है और शाम को जब उसका पति शराब के नशे में धुत घर वापस आता है तो उसको पीटता है। मेरे लिए वो भी भारत माता है जो दफ्तर से शाम को जब काम करके निकलती है तब उसको डर होता है कि रात के सन्नाटे में उसके साथ कुछ गलत ना हो जाए। और हम कहते हैं इस देश औरतों के लिए आज़ाद है और भारत माता आज़ाद है।